Aquarius 29, a butterfly emerging from a chrysalis. We have here the image of new life, rebirth, something which was once different, went through a transformative process and became renewed as something brighter, more colourful and could fly. This image of self-renewal is basically centered around what we are doing with the mind. If the mind is allowed to become bored, boring, sluggish, staunch, set on old ideas, and doesn't bother itself with learning new things, developing new ideas, then death takes hold of us slowly but surely. We die away, and it's not such a sorrow for the physical body to die away, because it's just secondary. The primary thing is for the mind to stay alive, because the mind goes forward. When the physical body stays here on earth, the mind goes forward. So we have to invest more fully in keeping the mind alive and vibrant and constantly renewing itself. Now, this necessitates new experiences and new knowledge. And in fact, when we are young, we have this insatiable curiosity. Why does this work? What's that going to do? Can I do this? All this appetite for experience and new knowledge and understandings is the feature of a very young child. And then they go to school, and that's sucked out of their system and beaten out of them and trained out of them, so that they lose that appetite for life typically. Now, we have to reverse that. We have to make sure our kids, for example, don't get sucked dry by going to school. We have to keep our kids vibrant in their minds. But we also have to do that for ourselves. And if we don't, then we just get to lose any appetite for life, whatever, at a certain age. And even older, that there's this kind of condition of mind where we just don't function. We just carry on doing the same old, like an automaton. And in some cases, losing the mind entirely. We're not really wanting to do that. What we're wanting to do is to keep the mind fresh and alert as a mountain stream, right up until the end. In a perfect life, you'd still be inventing new things, having new ideas, creating new works of art on the day before you die. Why not? Why not? I will be, for sure. I can't stop creating new ideas and new projects and stuff. It's been a feature of my whole life, and I'm not going to stop just because I'm getting older. It just won't happen. And it's required, therefore, that we look into new things, that we study new ideas, that we meet new people, and we listen to what they say, and we go to new places, and we try new things. And most particularly, we develop a changing attitude in response to the changing times. Life is changing so very quickly. It's always changed, and it's always been pretty quick, but now it's accelerating along at an exponential rate of growth. We're moving towards something quite unknowable, and we're accelerating towards it so fast. So we have to keep up. If you find life boring at the moment, you're just not looking at what's going on. It's amazing what's going on. It might be scary. It very certainly is uncontrollable and rather uncontrolled to any significant extent. But it's certainly exciting. It's new. It's unique. Something's happening right now. And we have to respond to that. We don't have to join in with the political furore and care about who's winning and so on. We don't have to do that. But there's this energy of life which is spinning and is all around us. And we can use that energy for whatever is our purpose, whether we want to create music with it, or art, or have adventures, or whatever. We can use it for wholesome purposes. And yet if we do not use it, then we die off. We go into our own entropy and just lose life instead. Another image with this chrysalis and butterfly change is worth noting. In terms of our spiritual evolution, the normal processes of growth are gradual. Little by little we wake up. And yet there are times when we have a eureka moment, a sudden awakening, and we shift to a new dimension of understanding. And these are potentially cathartic on the emotional level. We might find that we then awaken a deeper sense, a deeper memory of what took place in our childhood years, so that we can release that negative attachment to an emotion that was painful or harmful. It could be simply a new way of seeing things, a new perception. It doesn't have to be the release of emotion, but it'll be something a little bit dramatic in some way. And then we move to a next level, a next spiritual level, because as much as we go slowly up a gradation of evolution, we also jump. That's the nature of life at the atomic and the subatomic levels. That's what the word quantum means in quantum physics. Certain particles have a quantum of energy. They can have this number of units or that number of units, but it's not a gradation. It's a certain amount of energy. And if they've got, let's say, 1 or 2 or 4 units of energy, then they're rotating at a certain speed, or twice that speed, but there's nothing in between. That's how physicality is built. That's how our lives are structured. We tend to suddenly move up a level. And if you actually want to progress spiritually, really with a real appetite, you really want this, then you have to expect your life to accelerate all of the time, never stopping. You don't do a bit and then stop. You do a bit and then you do a lot more, and then you do an even greater amount, and then it just goes up and up and up in an acceleration, a constant acceleration. So the awakening, the eureka experience happens more and more frequently until it becomes a way of life, that every day has got something new for you to understand, and you just approach life knowing that it's all new, and you adopt a sense of wonder and amazement and enthusiasm for each new experience, and you look through fresh, bright eyes, as does a child. It's just returning to that childlike state of perception. And yet now we have an emotional maturity, an intellectual wisdom perhaps as well, centered in the heart. And so the childlike enthusiasm, balanced with this mature wisdom, gives us a way of life which is incomparably beautiful to anything that we've known before. The way that spirituality has been sold to the world is so badly done. It's so boring. It's finger wagging. You need to be good if you want to go to heaven, because if you aren't good, you'll be bad and go to hell. I mean, it's just missing the point. Not only because it's nonsense that there is no such thing as hell and heaven is guaranteed whatever you do, but it's just not the point. The point in becoming spiritual is because that's the way to joy, and that's the way to happiness, and that's the way to health. And everything that you really want in your life is available to you if, and really only if, you wake up that part of your being that all of us have, which is called spiritual. And it is so badly marketed, this spiritual aspect of our being, that there's this reaction against it by most people. They instead of being spiritual, they get to be religious or into denial. How badly sold it was. But it's like, if you just do this, then your life will become great, wonderful, exciting, awesome. And you'll move from being a caterpillar to being a butterfly. Well, which would you rather be? Now, you have to go through the chrysalis stage. And a chrysalis just is ill-defined, ill-formed, blind and uncertain, and for all intents and purposes, vulnerable, really very vulnerable indeed. And it can die off. Like some of our ideas, they can just die off if we don't give them sufficient nurture and control and stability. So, organize yourself like that. Go through the changes carefully and expect to become a butterfly.